Welcome to this episode of ISV Talks. I'm Carol Livingston, the owner of Dynamics Connections and your host of ISV Talks. And on this episode, I'm so excited to have Danny returns. Danny, you've been on a previous podcast, so thank you for returning. And I'm introducing Zachary. Thanks, Zach, for joining our podcast. Can you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Yeah, sure. Thank and appreciate the time, Carol, and having us on. Excited for the conversation. My name is Danny Hosey. I work at Paystand. I'm focused on our partner channel and building our VAR and ERP partner relationships in the Microsoft and Acumatica ecosystems. I've been in the channel for a couple of years now, but I started at Paystand working on the business development side, and I actually just passed my 4 years here a few days ago. So I've been here long enough.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Been here long enough to see a lot of growth, both in the company and also in myself. My focus today is supporting our VARs and helping them deliver more value to their clients on the AR and payment side. How can we work more strategically to go to market, and what are all the ways that we can support each other as we do that? That's a little bit of background on me and kind of what I'm focused on.
Nice. Yeah, congratulations on that 4-year anniversary. That's
Thank
exciting.
you. Thanks so much.
Zachary, you want to introduce yourself? Tell us how long you've been with Paystand.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, thanks for having us. Excited for the conversation today and to work with you and your team. But I'm Zachary Van Pelt. I currently serve as a sales manager here at Paystand. Started off as one of the senior account executives, and I have a team of AEs with me that really focus on working with our partners and working with our clients throughout their evaluation process. A little bit about me. I've been in the ERP space as a whole for quite a while, as well as some
Okay.
individual applications and extensions around kind of the ERP community. And then prior to that, in a former life, I did kind of the digital banking and finance background as well. So I've been doing technology, sales, and
Hmm.
consulting now for just under 15 years. So
Yeah, so good background for what you're doing today. That
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, it serves itself well to what we're doing and tends to be helpful
Yeah,
here and there. Absolutely.
awesome. Well, Danny, do you want to tell us a little bit about the company? How did it get started? A little bit about the company history?
Yeah, for sure. We started back in 2013. We initially launched our solution as a suite app for NetSuite, and then over the years, we expanded to support many of the other cloud ERPs. So from NetSuite, we launched to Sage Intacct, followed by Dynamics Business Central, and then more recently Acumatica with a couple of years in that ecosystem. We
Yeah.
support a mix of payment processing and automation, automated invoicing and collections. It just really depends on what the client needs. But our main goal is to help our merchants drive down their cost to collect revenue and that time spent on manual financial processes. So we offer low cost ways for businesses to get paid, whether that be by bank transfers or ACH. We also support credit cards. We help you handle that conversation around managing those transaction fees associated with credit cards. So we consider ourselves kind of advisors in this space to creating a better way to handle payments because we all know this
Right.
is a very crowded space. So I'd say that's a little bit about us and our history in a nutshell.
Perfect. So maybe again, Zachary, tell me a little bit about the product. What is special and unique and what's your differentiators? And I know you mentioned the other ecosystems, but it's kind of worth maybe running down which ERPs you also work with.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start off by talking about the solution itself. So when you think about Paystand, think of us as being more of an encapsulated full AR bundle, really trying to address the office of the CFO. And when you think about AR specifically, really anything that is downstream of invoice creation. So once that invoice gets
Okay.
posted in your ERP, how can Paystand run alongside that ERP to build more robustness in terms of that process? So usually that shows face in automated invoice delivery and the payment processing piece. But also, after a payment gets processed, we don't leave the party, right? We want to help you with some of that tedious reconciliation process all the way through bank reconciliation. And then that's an ideal world. And if that doesn't happen, then Paystand steps in and says, hey, how can we help you from a collection standpoint to make sure we're managing that ballooning AR to go after those late
Mhm.
payers and do what we can to get that revenue in the door. In terms of some of the unique features that we're doing, I think a lot of partners like working with Paystand because we are very configurable and agile. It's not a one size fits all or a blanketed approach. It's, hey, let's treat each customer as a unique project. And and you really use Paystand software first mentality and configurability to meet that client where they are. And then obviously some of the unique features that Danny already mentioned are our payment methods, really how our revenue model is the black sheep of the family, if you will, right? It's a SaaS-based service, and we're really encouraging payment methods outside of credit card because we know how costly those can be. And that's why we offer a fee-free payment option. And then also, we've heard from ERP ecosystems that check payers get left in the dust. So we're continually building out our product. And one of the things we're doing now is allowing those check payers to still interact with the digital payment experience while still writing those checks by offering check scanning on the payer side as well. In terms of ecosystems, we work across the Microsoft Dynamics ecosystem. As we all know, there's quite a bit of ERPs that are inside of that Dynamics umbrella. Our integration varies depending on the specificity of the ERP, but we work with all of them. We're also in the Sage ecosystem, Acumatica ecosystem, NetSuite ecosystem. And then outside of that, we really do try to be agnostic, just depending on the type of connectors or integrations and data flow might vary between those. But we do work in all markets for lack of a better answer. So hopefully that's helpful context, Carol.
Yeah, that's great. I guess I didn't realize that you started in NetSuite space. So that's interesting that you kind of expanded into Microsoft later and now Acumatica. So that's great. And those Sage, of course. So let me ask Danny, what's new in the product? I know we've been on this ISV Talks podcast before, but I think you mentioned like the check scanning. That's new, right? What else is new?
Yeah, I'd say we're constantly building to the demand that we're hearing from our customers. So our product team stays extremely busy keeping up with that demand. Zach and I have conversations with product all day long about these sorts of things. So I'd say specifically some of the new product features we've rolled out since we last spoke is a customer portal. So giving your payers additional functionality to viewing their historical and future payment data, more detailed reporting, that sort of stuff. Smart check scan, like Zach mentioned, that's pretty new to us. We know a lot of payers that just still like to put pen to paper, so we brought a solution to where they can still do that, and then we can still support that and still reconcile that on the back end. It's processed as an ACH.
Hmm.
Essentially, you scan that check with a QR code, and then it's processed back into the ERP. So yeah, that's another fun new feature that we rolled out within the last year. We do support service invoices now as well. So we now allow them to use the service invoice functionality for customers using service management in Business Central. So that is another new rollout more recently. We can also allow customers to apply credits to invoices at the payment checkout when making a payment. We've also expanded our international footprint a bit and kind of continue to expand more outside of North America and Canada. So that's a big initiative for us as well. And then we also recently signed a partnership with E1 so we can provide more sufficient automation for users, GP users, F&O through building those unique connectors. So that's another area we've been focused on is how do we
Wow.
best service those types of customers as well. So working on a lot of stuff, and then we're also always trying to add AI internally, or how can we add it to our solution to bring more benefit to our users. So yeah, we have a lot going on. We're constantly building. It's exciting to see the change over the last now 4 years here.
Yeah,
There's been a lot of change to the product, so it's cool to see
you
the
have been
expansion.
busy.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like every time I talk to Paystand, I'm like, okay, what's new? Because there's always something new that you've incorporated in the product, and it just gets better and better, right? That's awesome. Well, let's see. We talked about new things. Like maybe kind of go back and refresh me how you differentiate yourselves from other AR solutions. Like you said, Danny, it is getting crowded in the AR automation and payment space. So love to hear maybe Zachary, your perspective on how you are unique and how you differentiate yourselves.
Yeah, I know I touched high level on these in the earlier inquiry, but I think it's important from a customer and a partner perspective to just understand our lens of how we view these problems, right? And just the fact that we
Right.
look at AR as a full workflow as opposed to just payment processing. I think a lot of times unfairly Paystand gets grouped into payment processing because we do process payments. But if you're coming to us for just payment processing, you're probably missing the whole story. So I think a big differentiator for us is we keep the ERP in mind, right? And we keep that user experience in mind
Yep.
throughout that process, and that allows us to uniquely go to market. And then on top of that, just the uniqueness and agility of like Danny said, we work with our product team constantly, and very rarely is our solution used the same across an ecosystem. I think that flexibility lends itself to the customer experience to say, hey, I like this, but I want it done this way. And Paystand's ability to kind of meet the payer or the customer where they are really lends itself to success for Paystand and success really for that partner channel. And then obviously the payment methods, right? Wherever they are, again, meeting them where they are, whether that's scanning checks, whether that's allowing credit card payment, whether that is deploying a different experience based on those payment links. I think those things are usually underspoke to, but really do make a difference in that evaluation process where the evaluators tend to look at it and say, hey, how is this going to impact what I'm doing today? Our ability to kind of mold and meet them where they are is really a unique differentiator. And who doesn't want a free way to pay, right? That especially when you're looking to scale a business, I think a lot of times we're usually working with businesses that are looking to take that next step in their maturity, right? And create that operational efficiency. And I think Paystand usually comes in and interacts with our process and allows them to scale from a process standpoint while allowing them to keep those costs under control and protect their ROI in that process.
Yeah, and making it simpler for the payers to pay no cost is definitely a benefit. I know I've paid a vendor using the Paystand link and it's super easy. It really was. And obviously, if there's a fee, I'm going to look for what's available that doesn't, that's a free option, right? Let's see, a customer success story. How did you help them be successful?
Yeah, I think I'll speak maybe specifically to the Dynamics ecosystem and one of the clients that we found using the Business Central ERP solution, just because this was a client that really was, I don't want to say technology adverse, but really unsophisticated in the build out of their digital tech stack, if you will, right? And so one of the things that we heard throughout that process is, hey, we are an agricultural company. We don't know what this is going to look like, what the adoption is going to look like, if we're going to get what we need from this solution, because over
Right.
80% of our payers are people that are writing checks today. These are farmers who really don't want to have to use technology if they're not forced to. And then fast forward 90 days post implementation, their payment method and their digital adoption was upwards of 80%. And we
Oh
literally
my.
had their finance team, their controller, their CFO reach out to us specifically and say, I'm actually shocked at how fast our payers picked up on this solution rollout. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that contributed to a couple different things. One is the payment experience itself, right? How many times do they have to click through something? How much are we making them learn on the spot? Are we making them create a new account and things like that? Paystand tries to take that out of the picture. The last place we want to inject friction is at the time of revenue collection, right? And then I think you just look at that as a whole. I think that lended itself to quick adoption. And then also we use a customer success team post signature that really allows our team to share best practices and roll out different adoption campaigns that makes the client feel like they have a partner in this process that is going to drive them to a successful project. So I think those things coupled really serves as a powerful testimony.
Yeah, I did not know that. That's really great. So kind of I feel like after an implementation, there should be always be an optimization team. Make sure you're using it properly. Because usually that first part of the project is let's just get live, right?
Yeah, right.
So I love that. All right. Well, I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts, just changing gears a bit here on kind of what are some observations you're seeing from the partners in the channel? And things are changing rapidly. So what are your observations?
Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of changes in ways that we're seeing consolidations of a lot of smaller partners getting acquired. From a technology standpoint, I think how do ISVs partners work better together to help close deals, especially when there
Mhm.
is hard cost ROI opportunity that can either the ISV can bring to the table or the partner. So I think that's a big thing happening in the partner world between ISVs and VARs. I don't know, Zach, if you have another opinion on that as well.
I would just say that they want continual partnership from the partners, right? So a lot of times
Mhm.
when working with an end user or a client that maybe wasn't brought to us through the partner, they want that partner validation. They want that partner familiarity. So I think it's always not only educational, but valuable to the partners, to, even if you're not
Yeah.
actively working with an ISV, to understand that ISV and to understand if that's something that you want to slap your name on, for lack of a better term, right? So I think that,
Hmm.
and I think also buyer behavior is changing just in terms of new adoption and appetite for new technology, right? Whether that's using AI or using automation deployment throughout their business. So we're continually seeing that and having those conversations.
Good. So, any perspective to share about just the marketplace or just customers just trying to improve their operations and their efficiencies?
Yeah, I think what we're really seeing is buyers focused on lowering their cost to operate. They want to put automation in place and reduce that manual work and keep their teams lean and kind of scale without adding all that overhead. So a big part of that is the move to the cloud, getting off legacy systems and into more connected and automated workflows that these cloud ERPs can
Yeah.
support. So, and I think what we're seeing at the same time is merchants are just getting tired of rising credit card fees and they're starting to question whether that's just the cost of doing business or if there's a better way. So, and I think even in
Hmm.
business to business, buyers are beginning to expect that same kind of self-service experience that we're used to in the consumer world. So I think buyer behavior is shifting towards that, towards more modern peer-to-peer transaction style. It's just applied to the B2B world instead.
And I think also just with all the options there are out there for different ERPs, different ISVs, et cetera, clients aren't really or buyers aren't really settling for this is the way it works. It's, hey, how can I make this easy on my team? How can I get close to parity to what my team's using today to really ensure that adoption or that success, right? So I think a lot of times they make a move to maybe a new system and they're a little disgruntled at some of the things that they had in place before that they no longer have in place, right? And Paystand really selfishly from my perspective, we help a lot of those customers where they come in and they say, hey, I had something like this in place. I've made the move to this ERP and now that's not there anymore, right? So I think that's
Right.
one of the trends that I'm seeing.
Yeah. So, your ISV that listens, right, and takes that feedback. And that's definitely because you guys are always improving. So, it must be taking that great feedback
You got it.
into account. And I liked your perspective about like that consumer mindset. People are used to using their mobile or their cell phone, or they want it to be very easy and not hard to do business with. And so that definitely translates now into the workplace and businesses, right? So
Really.
Yeah, and I'd say on the finance side, this has been the last kind of part of the business that it's sort of adopting that kind of motion. So yeah,
still cutting those checks. So obviously,
exactly. Yeah, it's a little
yeah.
bit outdated, but again, yeah, we're here to
Yeah.
kind of meet them where they're at too at the same time.
Perfect. Well, just kind of in conclusion, maybe just share with me, either of you or both of you, what are you seeing? Kind of what's the one reason that people are coming to talk to Paystand?
Yeah, I think we help uncover hard cost ROI for our customers. So that's a big value add to both the customer as well as the partner.
Right.
Customers and partners are looking for a better way to modernize their AR and payments process, and they want good guidance on that. So I think that's where we come in and help those partners and customers out to decide what works, what's going to work best for you guys, how can we help, and what's the solution that we could potentially deliver.
Great. And Zachary, any thoughts on that?
Yeah.
What's kind of the one trend?
Absolutely. I would say you ask customers or partners, and I've talked a lot about the customers and why they come to us, but I think maybe I'll take a gear shift here over to the partner side. I think the receptiveness we've had from the partner channel has really been more of the consultative approach we brought to things. It's not,
Yeah.
here's what our solution does. If you have someone
Yeah.
that this works with, great. Just know that we're on the board. It's, hey, let us actually set up some time with your client to maybe better dive into things that you don't dive into, uncover rocks that you don't know to turn over, if you will, right? And I think a lot
Right.
of times partners really appreciate that consultative approach and the ROI build out. And not only that, it's a case by case scenario. We look at each project uniquely, and what is the biggest solve
Mm.
for client A might be completely different than the reason client B. And I spoke to this
Oh, good
earlier.
point.
might be using Paystand, right? So I think for us, the way we actually approach these projects and the different problems that we solve and how we go to market with each partner is very different. And I've pressed Danny and her channel and partner team specifically on, hey, make sure that we have a unique relationship with each partner. And we all want scalability, but at the same time, the way we help them is going to be different from partner to partner. So figure out how that partner wants to work with Paystand. Let's march to the beat of their jam.
Hmm.
And it makes it really easy to work with Paystand. And not only that, we're just very receptive. We have a very attentive and hungry team over here. We always open up our lines of communication, whether it's calling me on my cell phone right before bed or shooting an email to me at 4 o'clock in the morning when I'm out of town. So I think those things lend itself and make us easy to work with. And I think that strategic approach really brings partners to us, right? So.
I love that. I love that approach. Well, thank you, Danny and Zachary, for joining me today on this episode of ISV Talks. It was great catching up with you. There's always something new happening at Paystand. So thank you for sharing. And here's their contact information if you want to reach out to them. And Danny, do you want to go over that?
Yeah, so again, my name is Danny Hosey. You can contact me through email. My email is DHOSEAPAYSTAND.com. Our website is www.paystand.com, PAYSTAND.com. Yeah, feel free to reach out. Any questions about our partner program or any questions for your customers, we're happy to help, both Zach and I. So
Great. Well, thank you both for joining us today. I look forward to hearing more in the future from you guys. I'll be keeping in touch with you. Thank you, friends, for joining this episode, and we'll see you all on the next episode of ISV Talks. Bye bye, friends.
thank you.
Thanks, Carol.
Thank you.